Morning, guys. I know the light's really weird in here because I have windows over here and windows right here, but it's kind of quiet in here and there's so much noise going on everywhere else. So I thought I'd just take a minute here and talk to you guys just real quick about a couple things that are going on. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate all the kind comments. It's really, I was really having a difficult time the other day, like focused on like the amount of subscribers and all those types of things, mainly because I didn't understand where they were coming from. Like, I'm going to be me, and if people want to leave because they don't like the content that I'm providing, I'm okay with that because I'm not for everyone. I'm kind of weird in some ways. Um, and that's totally okay. I was just very confused on what's going on. Now that I've researched and learned different things, like YouTube has the right, if they feel like somebody is not an asset to your channel, they might drop you. So I don't know exactly how they figure these things out, but this can happen. And I don't know if that's what happened to me, but I don't see where those subscribers went. But I just thank you guys so much. You guys were such a blessing. Just your words and comments and um just everything. It was like, okay, I am just so thankful for you guys because you're the people that I was hoping to talk to, like through this YouTube. Just real, genuine, like loving, caring people. And I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm going to give you just a little story this morning, and then I'm going to about what happened last night, and then I'm going to share with you something that I was totally wrong about with my daughter. And I made a video a couple days ago. You know that we're all on this journey together with the type 1 and that type of stuff, but what I found out and just yeah, I'm going to update that after. So, you guys saw that I had that video and the other day, and so last night was a very long night for me. So, I sleep separate from. Right now, I'm sleeping just in the same room with Sweet Pea and then with my 3-year-old daughter because she just needed mama, and that's okay. So, between the two of them, it was just a crazy night. My 2-year-old kept waking up and not quite sure. She's like, I need you. So like I would just snuggle her for a little bit and whatever. And then Sweet Pea. So the past 3 nights, we started working on another issue that she has. Sorry, I saw cars slowing down and my children are outside. We have a gate and everything, but I didn't know we're also in the process of butchering pigs. So I wanted to just make sure that something wasn't getting out into the road, but they were just turning into my neighbor's driveway. But I wanted to make sure that's why I'm kind of sitting by this window. I have some older kids outside with my children, but I like to be able to see them from the window. Um, so anyway, so it was just a really long night. I probably have bags under my eyes. I don't even care. So she has had really low blood sugars because we're trying to heal some other things. So I don't think that I updated you guys. She actually, I brought her to the natural care specialist that I went with my other daughter, which we're going to do an update video on that soon, really soon. And he found that she had long-term COVID in her system. So we are using herbal supplements and those types of things for her to get that out of her completely, as well as her iron was really low, which I kept telling them at the doctor's office, her iron is low. And they were like, oh no, I think she's fine. I'm like, did you test it? And they're like, no, we haven't tested it yet. So, but they never would test it. So I knew that. So she's getting the iron and the other things. Yeah. And so we have been working on that, but because we're working on that, I don't know if it's because of that or just that there's her diet and that type of stuff, but her numbers have been really low. We actually dropped her Lantus, which is her all day, down a little bit. And so she has been running really low numbers, especially in the middle of the night. So it has been a rough couple days because she got approved for her Dexcom, but It hasn't arrived yet. And then once it arrives, then we'll go back to the endocrinologist and they'll help us like set it up and teach us about it. And we'll go through a session like that. So it has been some long nights because what can happen with type 1 is basically if your blood sugar drops like too low, you could go into a coma. So she was in the 70s, which is like really borderline, but at nighttime she was just like she was dropping. And so at one point she was like even in the 60s, which isn't good. So just trying to keep an eye on that. Well, last night I've been trying to get her blood sugar up high almost in the evening time so she's over 150, because at 150 she had been dropping. By the morning time she was in low 70s, like 150 down to 72, like throughout the night. So I had been trying to get her up a little bit like before she went to bed so that she'd be have enough like to be able to get through the night. Well, at 12 o'clock last night she was at 159. And no, normally after 150 you'd make a correction, but I've talked to her endocrinologist and they agree that it's really important like not to make a correction, because I started doing a correction over 200 just because she was dropping so much at night, and to keep her on the safe side. So that's kind of where we're at. So it's 159, and we went back and forth with that, and then it was like 240 in the middle of the night, which then I was like debating, and I'm like, no, her breath smells a little sweet, and I was like, no, I gotta make a correction. A correction is when you give them a shot of insulin to make up for the amount that they're over 150. So you'd take whatever the number is, she was 240, so it'd be 240 minus 150 divided by 75 divided by 2, and that's how much of a correction you would give. At that point, I probably could have bumped it up to 1, but I did just half because she does go low at night. So we did half. Anyway, long nights, long nights lately. So it was just really crazy last night, but I had this dream and it was weird. Like I was dreaming that I was like looking at my phone and looking at a specific channel. And so I had not been on that channel for, gosh, maybe 3 years. I think the channel has a lot of good content, but the gentleman on there, he swears. And so when I watch videos and stuff, sometimes I put them on the TV or like I'm listening to it while I'm doing something else, and I didn't want like that around my children. So basically I went from like watching it to like watching it only when like they weren't there. And then, life happens and you don't watch things as much as you used to or whatever. So I was looking at this channel and I was like, okay, I woke up and I still remembered the channel name and I was like, okay, this is really weird. So I ended up going to the channel this morning. Now, this person that runs this channel is like, he's like a prepper, but he's like tactical and like kind of like a guy's channel, right? And so I was like, I don't know why, but I just need to go to this channel. So I go to this channel and he has this like the last video next to yesterday was 5 ways about YouTube or whatever, and to increase YouTube or something like that. I forget the name of the thing, and I was like, okay, this is really weird. He never used to post anything like this, but it's been years since I watched him. And actually, he had some Bible studies and stuff on there too, which I didn't realize he had started to do. Um, so I clicked on it, and it was the main point of this was, don't worry about numbers. Don't worry about anything. Just be yourself. Because if you're yourself, then, people who like you are going to be around and you're going to have he said your tribe, but like, I feel like my extended family, right? And it's so true. Like, I just want to have like that. Like, we're all together. Like, we can learn some things together, like with this type 1. And then I can share some things that I have knowledge about that maybe I try to talk to, like, people here, like you guys here. I try to talk to you like if I was starting out, like what I would want to know, because we learned most of the stuff ourselves. So we learned how to butcher by ourselves, we learned how to like do everything by ourselves. And I think we don't have the philosophy of like everything needs to be perfect, but rather everything needs to be done. Um, I just realized that I'm sitting in front of that. That's actually a pellet one. Just so you guys know that I don't have those like hanging around my house. They were using that the other day and I just didn't realize that was there. So yeah, they have that, boys. Actually, my older girls too. Okay. So I had that and I was just like, okay, between you guys' comments and that video, and I was just like, and chatting with some people at church yesterday, I was just like, okay, I feel like refocused, back on track. I also talked to I talked to the computer guy at church. He's going to help me out, try to, because originally I had wanted like my YouTube channel to be like together with a blog, so that when I say recipes or do recipes and that type of stuff, you would have those recipes right on my blog. Especially I like to change things up a lot of times, and that can make it really difficult, and I wanted it later for my future generations, like for my children, if they wanted to go to the blog like and print off recipes that we used to make growing up, to be able to do that, to have like a legacy to lead them. So that is the update on what is going on like with the channel. I have tons of things that I am thinking about today. Right now we are butchering and plan to, sorry, I have like hair across my eye, and plan to video some of that. And yeah, that will be coming up. I still have that video that I need to put all the clips in with the day in the life, and I'll probably end up doing that tomorrow. We have to go to town today to see about the Dexcom. So I'm going to be working with the meat this morning and then doing that this afternoon. Okay, so what, that's the grinder. So what I realized that I thought that isn't going to work out, right? So there's some things that you try and you're like, yeah, that is totally not going to work out. So I had done a video, I think it was about a week and a half ago now, explaining how I had the list all listed out on my cabinet, and it said, okay, I need to count the carbs and the proteins. I think the video's name was like, I have to count proteins too. Or something similar to that. And when I made that video, I was reading through this book that I'm trying to follow, and that's exactly what they said. But they didn't take into account that I'm dealing with a 5-year-old. Or I didn't. Like, I'm dealing with a 5-year-old and I really just have to give myself grace. So yes, we carb count every single time. Yes, we're still on low carbs, but as far as like counting proteins and all that type of stuff, I can't do it. It's too much, and it would, I think excuse me, um it's too much. But not only is it too much, I think that it takes too much away from her. And this is about her. She does really well with low carb. Like, she loves salad. She eats really well. She's gaining weight on it. She's doing a really awesome job. And um, I think that that's great. And I want to continue that. But I found that when I was trying to protein count, I was getting frustrated, or like not frustrated at her, but like internally frustrated. Like, I can't figure out how much meat she's going to eat. Like, normally she would eat all of the salad, all of the vegetables, which is the carb, right? Any of the carb, like, I could kind of count, but then, yeah, the protein thing is not where we're at. It isn't. I mean, it might, if you had somebody who was old enough to do that, then that's great. But I don't think for us, like every meal, it's kind of like, okay, we're having this for supper. Um, what do you want as far as this goes? And then you also know that you can have like, she does a lot better with like raw veggies. She would prefer raw veggies, and she actually can have a whole cup of raw veggies versus half of a cup of cooked veggies. Um, so she knows that she's also allowed like any of the veggies in the fridge, and she's also allowed like her yogurt at supper time, or she might just ask like um if she's not gonna really eat the meat that we're having, then she might be like, "Can I have this?" But most of the time, she will. There's just been a couple instances where it's been like I had made some pulled pork before we found out about this, and that was a freezer meal. So I pulled that out, and then I asked her what she wanted. I didn't know like the sugar count or any the counts and stuff, or the carb count on that, so I did whatever. So this portion of my life is definitely a journey, and I know some of you are watching this journey along with us, and I just want to be like open and honest about things that we are finding helpful and things that are not finding helpful. That said, her sugars have been really good. Yes, they've been on the low side, but the 240 that we had last night, we hadn't gone over 200 for about a week. And I think the 240, it was just a really weird day yesterday. So when she woke up in the morning, it was 62. This is Monday. And we went to church on Sunday. So the morning of church, she woke up at a 62, which is really low. So I gave her breakfast, and I didn't her breakfast was kind of low. It was under 10, I believe. No, it wasn't under 10. I ended up giving her some keto cereal so it would be higher, but then I didn't give her insulin, and I was going to check her after to see. So she had two bowls of cereal. It would have been a total of, I think, 24 carbs that she had for breakfast. And I didn't give any insulin for that. But then I checked her when we got to church, and she was only like 72. And I was like, ugh, like I want to get her like high enough. So all throughout church it was like, okay, let's try. Or on the way to church, I said she was 72 right before then, and I had given her a baggie of nuts that would have been 7, but she only ate like half of that. So I was like, oh goodness, all right, so let's see. So then at church, we waited a little while. I tested her sugar again, and it was at 74, maybe. It was not very high. I think it was like right around the same thing. I have it logged, but it was right around the same thing. So then I gave her, they make these keto bars, and that was a 9. I planned on giving that to her with lunch, but I was like, okay, I think that she really needs this because I don't want to give her insulin for lunch if um if she's so low. Like, it's just kind of like this game that's really nerve-wracking. So I think playing that game all throughout the day, and then in trying to keep her higher at night, just made it a little bit higher, trying to give her an evening snack that she just had some yogurt or whatever. But I don't know, I think it just played into it because we started the day off a little crazy. Anyway, it wasn't just a like cut and dry type day. So I think that really did play a role into her higher thing last night. But I am so excited for a Dexcom. So if you don't know what a Dexcom is, it basically attaches to their arm or different parts of their body. And you can constantly monitor what their blood sugar is without having to poke their finger every single time. So that is what we are going to check out tonight. Actually, we go pick up pig food, and they said that it could possibly be in today. I have to go to the pharmacy, so I'm hoping that it will be. Once it is in, then we'll make an appointment with the endocrinologist. So I think we're just getting through a couple days, but it might be a long couple days because this has been crazy with the sugars and stuff. And we are also doing the medications for the long-term COVID. She has 3 tinctures and 3 medicines, actually. So I've been crushing up the medicine, and I tried a bunch of different things, but I can't like give her juice or anything. So the tinctures I've been putting in like one of those little medicine cups and putting water in it and then doing all the drips in there, and she takes that like a champ. Now the medicine that has to be crushed up, that's a little harder. So basically what I've been doing with that is giving her a spoon with all the crushed up, and then have her do water, and then afterwards she can have a big spoon of ice cream. So she seems to like that out of all the options that we have tried, and it seems to be helping her as of it's only been, I think today's the 4th day. Yeah. So I'll let you know how that goes. Okay. So that is about it for this video. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around with me. And I have so many things coming up for you guys. I am going to go and grab the camera and share with you guys this pig day. We butchered a pig last night, and then we have two that are getting butchered today. And one of them, I'm going to can the whole thing. So make sure if you're interested in that type of material to check that out. And then I'm hoping by Saturday that I have that other video all ready to get put up for you guys. It just has a lot of clips, so it might take me a couple more days to do that, especially where we are butchering today. And we're not sure about when I'll have to go back to the city for the Dexcom and stuff. But by Saturday, I should have that up and available for you guys. So I hope you all have a blessed day.